nominations. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cooper,
Here.
Commissioner Gill,
Here.
Commissioner Graham, absent, Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Luciano,
Here.
Commissioner Mercado,
Here.
Commissioner Sebo,
Here.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Here.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Here. Okay, we will omit the salute to the flag since we are conducting this meeting remotely. However, let us pause for a moment of silence for all of those lost in Kentucky and elsewhere, all who we've lost in Essex County due to COVID. Thank you. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Mr. President, yes, we have two. Conference Board, October the 6th, 2021, and November the 3rd, 2021.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Sebo and a second from Commissioner Vice President Pomares to approve the transcript. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent, Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any topics of discussion?
Mr. President, there are none.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to the public comment session. Today's meeting is a combined conference board meeting and we will vote on every item on the agenda. However, since we are meeting remotely, the public had the opportunity to submit questions and comments for consideration and can also call in. At this portion of the meeting, the clerk will have additional instructions for our callers. Madam Clerk.
If you're calling in, you'll be acknowledged to speak in the order that your call was received. Emails received for public comment will be read after all calls are handled. At this time, Lionel Leach will announce the callers so they can state their comments or questions, and be reminded you have 3 minutes to speak. Please do not have your laptop or any electronic device on while calling in. At this time, we're accepting only calls pertaining to agenda items. Please note, you will have an opportunity to call back later in the meeting at the designated time for a public comment session on non-agenda items. Lionel?
Yes, good evening. This is Lionel Leach, Project Manager for the Board of the Board of Commissioners, as County Commissioners. As a reminder, please make sure you unmute your phone before speaking, and please make sure you do not have tonight's meeting playing on any cell phone, laptop, or any other devices within earshot. There's a slight delay, so you cannot make comments and listen at the same time. So please, again, be reminded to mute all of phones. The first speaker will be Matt Dragon. Please state your name for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. You may begin now.
Matt Dragon from West Orange. On K65, as you're all hopefully aware, it has come to light in the last few weeks that 2 Union County prisoners held in ECCF were violently assaulted. 1 was killed and 1 barely survived. There may have been others, we'd be the last to know. The non-fatal beating has gotten more attention for several reasons, not the least of which is that a video has been made public showing the brutal assault, but also because the victim had a history of mental illness, including during a previous stay at ECCF, and should have never been in jail, much less in the housing unit at ECCF he was placed in. Some estimates of mental health needs in county jail populations go as high as 60% of the jail population. Do we have a 6 to 10 ratio of mental health professionals to corrections officers at ECCF? Now seems like a good time to staff up those resources. We've made tens of millions of dollars off Black and brown bodies by partnering with ICE over the years. Let's invest that money in mental health professionals. The incident also gained attention because out of the gate, the initial response from both county administration and the task force executive director was that the jail staff handled the situation well and swiftly. No one can see that video and think that that response was anything but lackluster and slow. But we're also hearing that violence against officers has risen substantially. Maybe that's why they were slow to respond, concerned that leadership doesn't care about their safety. All these points align in the direction of one thing: failed leadership. It has been mere months since Union County prisoners were brought to Essex, and there's already been 2 brutal incidents involving them. Are they being treated differently by the ECCF staff? This is your first meeting since both these incidents came to light. You have multiple times later in the meeting where you can start a conversation about these incidents and management of the jail at large. I believe there's an incarceration committee that could speak during the report of board committee. Maybe there's a legal definition of new business, but this certainly seems like new business to me. Finally, there's commissioner comment session. It's rare, but I have heard a few of you comment over the years. Seems like a great day to have some thoughts. I don't want to hear about how it's being investigated by the AG, so no one can comment on anything. You can comment as humans about the treatment of other humans and commit tonight to ending it. Your constituents are tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of coming here, telling you to do something, ask some hard questions, take some sort of stand, and getting silence in return. But these are Director Ortiz's prisoners, Joe D's prisoners, your prisoners, and my prisoners. But above all else, they are human beings and they deserve to be treated as such. Not only by the staff they interact with on a daily basis, but more importantly by the 9 of you who are supposed to oversee, advise, and consent. I don't consent to treating my prisoners like this. Now's the time to speak up if you don't consent either. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, there are no other speakers in the queue.
Thank you, Lionel Leach. Mr. President, we have no email correspondence for public comment at this time.
Okay, Mr. Dragon, as is our policy, your questions will be answered and sent to the appropriate people for an answer. It'll be answered in writing. Madam Clerk, do we have any resolutions on introduction and first reading?
Mr. President, we have one.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance 1 into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. President. Thank you. Our treasurer, Hussein Mohammed, will handle this item.
Good evening. My name is Hussein Mohammed, the county treasurer. Ordinance number 1 is to amend the county code to add an option for the county to pay the vendors by electronic transfer, electronic fund transfer, plus the usual way of issuing checks. So this will be, we'll have to amend the code for that.
Okay, Mr. Paulavecchio, any questions?
Comments on this one, Mr. President.
Ms. McInerney?
Mr. President, we indicated before at the leadership meeting that the only issue we have would be to make sure that the internal controls surrounding these transfers are in place.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, we
any
added
questions?
the,
Go ahead, Mr. Mohammed.
yes, we added an additional paragraph to the code for the internal control process to make sure all the electronic transfer funds is reconciled on a monthly basis. So we have internal control in place.
That's
Thank you.
satisfactory, Mr.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing
Yes,
none, I have a
Commissioner
motion.
President. Yes,
Commissioner-
Mr. President.
Commissioner Cooper.
Question. This is to make payments to vendors after they provide goods and services, correct?
Hussam Mohammed, County Treasurer. Yes, this is to have an option to do electronic fund transfer if they choose to. Yes.
So what's the safety protocol that's put in place? Like typically when we, do checks, there's a written signature and then it gets processed. What is the electronic process going to be?
Hussam Mohammed, County Treasurer. All the process on our end will still be the same. We'll still have the purchase order. We'll still have invoices and the signatures. The only change will be we have an option to do electronic transfer, and this will be going through the bank. They have a third party. We do not house any wiring instruction or wiring information in the county level. It's not in our system. It's a third party maintain that, and they have an extra layer of security.
And will this feature help us pay vendors quicker, like in a quicker turnaround?
Yes, they'll make sure the vendors will get their payment right away if they choose to, and no checks will be lost in the mail or will be delayed for vendor. Vendor will be getting their money faster and quicker and safer.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments, Commissioner? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Luciano to introduce ordinance number 1. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have any ordinances or resolutions for listing purposes only?
Mr. President, we do not.
All right. Do we have any ordinances or resolutions on second reading and public hearing?
Yes, Mr. President, we have 4. Ordinance number O-2021-00011, O-2021-00012, O-2021-00013, and O-2021-00014.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to ordinance number O-2021-00011 and read it into the record at a later time. So I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O-2021-00011 open. If there is any member of the public who email comments for or against this ordinance, we will read the comments into the record and respond to you in writing. If there are any callers in the queue, Madam Clerk.
Lionel Leach, do we have any callers online? Mr. President, we have none.
Let the record reflect no comments were received or no callers waiting. Mr. McInerney, any questions or comments?
No, sir, I do not.
Mr. Polavecchia,
No comments.
Commissioner. Questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Luciano and a second from Commissioner Gill to close public hearing on ordinance O-2021-00011. Do I have the same mover and second to approve the ordinance?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent, Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. Okay, commissioners, I have a motion. I'm sorry. Let's move to ordinance O-2021-00012. I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O-2021-00012 open. If there are any members of the public who email comments for or against this ordinance, we will read the comments into the record and respond to you in writing, or if there are any callers in the queue. Mr. Leach.
Mr. President, I believe we have no callers.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. McInerney, questions or comments?
No questions.
Mr. Paulavecchio.
No comments.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Gill to close the public hearing on ordinance O-2021-00012. Do I have the same mover and second to approve the ordinance?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Graham, absent, Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to ordinance O-2021-00013 and read it into the record at a later time. I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O-2021-00013 open. If there is any member of the public who email comments for or against this ordinance, we will read it into the record at a later time and respond to you in writing if there are any callers in the queue.
There are no callers in the queue, Mr. President.
Thank you so much. Let the record reflect no comments were received and no callers waiting. Mr. McInerney.
Are we on, we're talking about number 3, correct? 00013?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Just that during the leadership meeting, both 3 and 4 were not discussed, were not on the original agenda. I don't know if there's any questions, about these, but we did not discuss them at the leadership meeting.
Frank, this is ordinance number.
Thank you for the reminder.
What's that?
Go ahead, Ms. Potter.
I was just going to say, it's ordinance, this ordinance was discussed at the last meeting upon introduction. And just the salient point of it, it's being amended to reflect some of the changes at the jail, most specifically the end of the housing of ICE detainees. So I think some of the language in the ordinance was changed to reflect that.
And that's why it's on tonight, correct? Because the amendments?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paulavecchio. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner
Mr.
Cooper and a
President.
second from Commissioner Gill.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Just on ordinance 00013, just making sure that that was discussed at our last at our last general meeting about those changes, and in light of many of the situation that's currently going on in our correction facility, I think it's important just to stress that there were some questions asked, and much of those changes are administrative in nature, and do not do anything to fundamentally change the independent nature of that task force, which I think now more than ever will be needed, as we navigate the next year. Thank you.
No, thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions or comments, Commissioners? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Luciano to close public hearing on ordinance 2021-00013. Do I have the same mover and second to approve?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Robert Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to ordinance O-2021-00014 and read it into the record at a later time. I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O-2021-00014 open. If there is any member of the public who emailed comments for or against this ordinance, we will read the comments into the record and respond to you in writing. Or is there any callers in the queue?
There are no callers in the queue,
Yes,
Mr. President.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Someone,
Hey, don't,
we can hear the
unless you really have
conversation.
something.
Please put yourself on mute. Let the record reflect that no comments were received and no callers waiting. Mr. McInerney, questions or comments?
Questions?
Mr. Paulavecchia,
No comments.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Vice President Pomares to close the public hearing on ordinance O-2021-00014. Do I have the same mover and second to approve the ordinance?
Yes, you may, President.
Yes. Thank you so much. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Graham, absent, Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now move to resolutions 1 through 6 and added starter 116, which are budget insertions. Please read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item 1 is a budget insertion, as you said, from HUD to provide for the coordinated entry program, which is for eligible families for homeless prevention in the amount of $400,000. There is no county match. Item 2, also with Community Development Block Grant Program for $100,000. This will provide information and counseling for tenants and landlords to prevent evictions. Item 3 is a Community Services Block Grant, Division of Community Action, in the amount of $11,091. This is some additional funding that we received to funding we received previously. The new total is $1,109,152. And again, this amount is $11,091. Item 4, New Jersey Division of Children and Family Services. This is a DC SLC Care Grant. This is a new program that will provide for children and families going through the Interagency Coordinating Council through Department of Health and Rehabilitation, an amount of $10,000. Item 5, Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness, and the amount of $307,000. This is for the Office of the Sheriff, and this will help to implement the National Incident Management System for project mapping and so forth that's used by the Office of the Sheriff. Item 6 is for the ARC commuter program, which is the night out program that provides transportation for workers on the reverse commute. And there is an in-kind county match on this program, and that is an amount of $663,887. And finally, item 116 is with the Division of Family Development for Code Blue support funding. In times of extreme temperatures, we provide for assistance for those who require it. In those circumstances, there's no county match for this program in the amount of $545,000, and it's from January 1, 2022 through December 31, 2022. And that's all of them, Mr. President.
Mr. President. Mr. President, can you hear me? You're on mute.
Commissioner Sebo. Commissioner Sebo.
All right. Mr. Jackson discussed number 7. And he discussed number 6, which is for JARC, and numbers for the night owl, and number 8 is also for JARC for 8 operating agreement, and number 8 is with Meadowlink, and number 9 is with Meadowlink. They all go together, but he just covered number 6. And 6 through 9 go together.
Well, Commissioner, that's because they're all budget insertions, so they're different.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Mr. Paulovecchio, questions or comments?
No questions, sir.
Mr. McInerney.
Previously on the leadership agenda, we had a $1,685,000 2021 alcohol and drug abuse grant. Is that coming back? That's not on the agenda.
We'll have that in January, Mr. We'll have that in January. That'll be on the January agenda.
It said, okay. When I look at the prior agenda, it says 2021 county budget. So that's really for 2022. That's why it's moved over to January.
Correct. That's correct.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McInerney. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Sebo and a second from Vice President Pomares to take resolutions 1 through 6 and 116 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano.
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado.
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo.
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares.
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's now move to resolution 7 through 11 and added starter 119, which are from the Division of Training and Employment and Senior Services. Please read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Vieira will handle 7, 8, and 9. Mr. Mumford, 10 and 11, and Mr. Vieira will come back for 119. Mr. Vieira.
Thank you, Commissioners. Michael Vieira, Director of Special Transportation. For 7, 8, and 9, I'm representing the Division of Employment and Training. Resolution number 7 is basically a contract between New Jersey Transit and the County of Essex for the very popular Job Access Reverse Commute. That does tie in with resolution number 6, which is the funding from New Jersey Transit for that. That grant is a 50% match. Resolution number 8 is our contract with Meadowlink Easy Ride. They do provide the services for our JARC shuttle. Resolution number 9 is for our workforce accessibility vehicles of Essex County. Those are vehicles that are assigned to the One Stop Center in East Orange. At the One Stop Center, we have multiple contracts with agencies to help TANF and post-TANF clients get back on their feet. And we have connections to all of our contracted sites to provide transportation where the key hub is our One Stop Center. Thank you, Commissioners. Mr. Mumford would probably take 10 and 11.
Good evening, Commissioner. Julius Monford, Director of Essex County Division of Training and Employment and One Stop Manager. I'm going to go to 11 first, then come back to 10. Item number 11 is Pearson Vue. DRC was providing all our testing services the past 10 years. DRC decided to go out of business, and we had to find a new testing center. And we reached out because Pearson Vue and HISET both are Middlesex County government state grant on a state contract. We reached out to 2 vendors. Pearson Vue was the most experienced because they provide testing for our state education school system, and they will be our new task and GED testing provider, which will be located here on the 5th floor at the One Stop Center, 50 South Clinton Street. Number 10 will be our Work First New Jersey contracts for vendors to provide education and training services for those individuals who are receiving benefits from the Division of Family Assistance and Benefits. We decided to do something different. We did receive our money from Department of Labor about 2 months ago, but there has been no mandate for clients to enter an activity. And instead of starting contracts and allowing our vendors to believe they will receive this money with no vendors, we decided to go with a contract period from December 1 to April 2022. Excuse me. We were just informed by the state last week that they're supposed to be sending out letters to clients lifting the non-mandated requirement to go into an activity, and that all clients will be again returned to activities beginning in January. Thank you.
And Commissioners, again, it's Michael Vieira, Director of Special Transportation Services for number 119. This time I have my hat on for the Division of Senior Services. This resolution is providing a 3-month contract to TransDev, who operates our special transportation programs for senior citizens and people with disabilities. Unfortunately, we went out to bid for our contract for a 5-year contract. Unfortunately, the proposal came back with some altered wording, and the bid was rejected. We are going out to bid again. The bid will be opened on January 11th. However, not to have any interruptions in services for our seniors and disabled, we are asking for a 3-month extension on the existing contract for $650,000 for number resolution 119. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Mr. Polavecchio,
Excuse me, I don't have any questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
On resolution number 11, is it the person taking the test that actually makes the payment?
The way it is set up in the past was the person would make a money order made out to the Essex County Division of Training and Employment, and we will pay the contracted vendor through our revenue account that we have set up through account payable.
So it's really a wash. We collect the fee and then we remit it to the vendor. So that's why this is referred to as a non-financial contract agreement?
Correct. Correct.
All right, thank you. What is the fee now for GED? I know it's gone up.
It's $110, but each test after that is $10.
Oh, all right. Okay, thank you very much. I was just curious. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions or comments? 7 through 11 and 119. Hearing none. I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Luciano to take resolutions 7 through 11 and 119 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner.
Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 12 through 16, which are from the Housing and Community Development. And please read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Mr. Lombardi will handle these items.
Good evening, Commissioners. Craig Lombardi, Program Coordinator for the Division of Housing and Community Development. Tonight, we are requesting that the Board approve modifications to the 5 activities described in items 12 through 16, which were previously approved by the Board for CDBG funding. Please note that the total funding awarded to the applicable towns and agencies will not change, only really the scope of their activities are being modified. So for item number 12, the Township of Milburn was awarded $34,055 for ADA compliant improvements to the Milburn train station. However, the actual bids far exceeded the expected cost, and therefore Milburn has requested that those funds be reallocated to help cover the cost of their program year 2021 project, which is to provide ADA compliant curb ramps in the Glenwood section of Milburn. For item number 13, First Cerebral Palsy in New Jersey had been awarded $300,000 to expand their facility. However, again, when they went out to bid, the cost ended up being 2 to 3 times what they expected, and therefore that project would have to be indefinitely postponed. And what they are requesting is that those funds be reallocated so that they could do a major upgrade of their HVAC system in their existing building, which will enable them to operate more efficiently and keep that building for a much longer time as they continue to deliver services to a growing consumer base. Item number 14, the Township of South Orange was awarded $102,900 to provide ADA improvements to the Baird Center. However, as the project moved forward in development, it became clear that there were some historical issues that would prohibit some of the improvements that would be funded by the CDBG funds. And therefore, the town has requested that those funds be reallocated for ADA improvements to the Vincent Minnelli Cultural Community Center in South Orange. Item number 15, the City of Orange was awarded $120,000 to construct an ADA compliant restroom facility at High and Alden Park. Again, in developing that project, the Department of Environmental Protection classified that proposed facility as a place to escape to during a natural disaster. Well, with that kind of classification, the cost and the work that would have to be done to build such a facility was prohibitive. So the city of Orange has asked that those funds be reallocated to conduct improvements at Central Park in Orange, including but not limited to the installation of fencing, improving the play area, and removing some protruding roots of trees and whatnot. And finally, item number 16, the Northwest Essex Community Healthcare Network have been awarded $35,000 for ADA compliant ramp improvements to their facility in Belleville. However, again, when they went out to bid, the costs were much higher than expected, and they have asked that funds previously approved for program year 2020 for lighting fixtures be reallocated to help pay the cost of the ADA compliant ramps, because they believe that's much more significant and important to their facility. So those are the items 12 through 16 for which we are requesting that these modifications be approved.
Thank you. Mr. Paulovecchio. Or did Ms. Shabazz take over?
I believe
Yes,
Ms.
Yes, I'm here, Commissioner President. Yes, I have no questions.
Thank you. Mr. McInerney.
I have no questions.
Okay, commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Vice President Pomares and a second from Commissioner Gill to take resolutions 12 through 16 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 17 through 20, which are from the Office of the County Administrator. Please read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, I'll handle item 17. Mr. Walker will do 18 through 19, and Mr. Coltre, item 20. Item 17 is with Associated Humane Societies in the amount of $50,000 to provide for feral cat neutering. As you know, we've had this program now for, I think this is our third year, and we're looking forward to expanding it. It's been somewhat inhibited by the COVID crisis and the pandemic, but we're looking to expand the services beyond that. And it's $50 per service that we provide the funding to Associated Humane. Item 18, 19, Mr. Walker.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tim Walker, Director of Risk Management for the County of Essex. Both 18 and 19 resolutions deal with the renewal of first the property insurance program, and then the next one is for the excess flood program at the Essex County Correctional Facility. This year's renewal, the recommendation is to stay with the incumbent carrier, Affiliated FM, which came in with a 7.4% increase, which we feel is a very good renewal given the current status of the marketplace. The total of that would be $532,567,000. And then the renewal of the excess flood coverage would also go with the incumbent, Westchester SLIC, that's a Chubb Insurance Group company, and the renewal amount there is $58,054. I'm open for any questions or comments.
Mr. President, Julius Coultry, Deputy County Administrator. This is for resolution number 20, Office of the County Administrator. This is for the past emergency declaration because of Hurricane Ida. The Parks Department spent $1,259,440.92, and that is with 30 vendors. And the Department of Public Works spent $2,122,543.56 for storm related. Both of them are storm related, and they had 5 vendors.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Paulovecchio. Oh, sorry, Ms. Shabazz.
That's okay, Commissioner President. No questions. Thank you.
Mr. McInerney.
I don't have any questions, Mr. President.
Commissioner, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Vice President Pomares and a second from Commissioner, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Gill to take resolution 17 through 20 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent, Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson,
Yes.
so moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolution 21, which is from the Office of Accounts and Control. Please read it into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Muhammad will handle this item.
Good evening, Hussein Muhammad, County Treasurer. This resolution is to award the contract for accounting services to New Jersey Government Services, LLC. They provide a wide range of services, accounting services to the county for the CARES Act and for the ARP, and help any other department need any accounting help. And I believe we have Mr. Anthony Amparello from the New Jersey Government Services online.
Mr. Amparello? Are you there?
He is on, Mr. President. Not sure.
Is he really?
Rumor has it. Yes, he is on. If you want, we can have him get back on.
Listen, we can move on. We can move on.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Shabazz, any questions or comments?
No, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney?
Questions?
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Siebel and a second from Commissioner Cooper. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado, Commissioner Mercado is absent. Commissioner Luciano.
No, here he is. Here he is.
Yes.
He said yes.
Mr. President, I believe Commissioner Mercado said yes. Commissioner Luciano.
Somebody has
Correct.
TV.
Commissioner Johnson, Absent Commissioner Graham, absent Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 22 through 27, which are from the Office of Management and Budget. We'll read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Muhammad will handle these as well.
Good evening, Housekeeping Muhammad, County Treasurer. Resolution number 22 is to cancel current year appropriation to achieve a certain level of fund balance, and this will help us for the year end. The resolution number 23 is transfer resolution. This is transfer current year appropriation to make sure all county department is properly funded to the end of the year. Resolution number 24 is to cancel all the outstanding checks based on our audit recommendation, and all these old outstanding checks will have a list on file. If anybody come up to ask for replacement, we will honor it and we'll replace it. Resolution number 25 is this to request a permission for dedication by rider for workers' comp. We are requesting from the state a permission to establish a workers' comp trust fund, and this will be funded from unexpended budget appropriation, and this will be used as needed in future years. This will be similar to the no trust fund, and the same as resolution number 26 and 27. This will be the 26 for Board of Taxation, 27 for accumulated absence liability trust fund. Resolution number 28 is to award to qualify a list for bond counsel services. We have a whole list of bond counsels, and this will be used as needed.
We're stopping at 27. You get a little bit ahead of yourself.
Okay.
You want to get home.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So up to 25?
27.
27.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, 27. Okay.
Mr. Bass, any questions or comments? Mr. Bass?
I don't have any questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney?
On resolution 22, is the cancellation still $3 million?
Hussein Muhammad, County Treasurer, yes, the same, $3 million.
Okay, and there were some changes on the transfer resolution, correct? Since the last time we looked?
Yes, yes, there was a transfer. We had to transfer money to cover money for early voting. This was the only change since the last time we spoke.
And as I said at the last meeting, with regard to resolution 24, one of the key points that we discussed with Mr. Muhammad is that the outstanding checklist is maintained. So if anybody missed canceling, a check, that would be available to them. As far as 25, 26, and 27, as I said before, I think reserving these amounts separately outside of fund balance is a prudent financial move. But one question on the accumulated absences, are you going to fund that again also out of the line item for accumulated absences? What isn't? Or how is that going to be funded?
Yes, we will try. Yes, we will try to do this over time from unexpended salary appropriations to fund this unfunded liability.
So all this means is the under expenditures in these three accounts, these three line items, will go to a reserve account as opposed to lapsing directly into fund balance. These reserves accounts will be charged on an as needed basis. And I would assume
That's
that
correct, yes.
it would be charged if there's a requirement above and beyond the current year's line item for each of these items.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I have no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McInerney.
Thank you.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Vice President Morris to take resolutions 22 through 27 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent, Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 28 and 29, which are from the Office of Treasury, and we'll read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Mr. Mohammed will handle these items as well.
Hussam Mohammed, County Treasurer. Resolution number 28 is to qualify the list for bond counsel services. We have a list of bond counsel firm, and we will use it as needed, and their service will be for the bond sale, what we have it every year, and not to exceed 80,000 per transaction. Resolution number 29 is also qualify a list for bond counsel, and it will be used as needed also for the bond sale, and not to exceed 80,000 per transaction.
Thank you. Ms. Shabazz.
No legal questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
I don't have any questions either, Mr. President.
All right. Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Siebel and a second from Commissioner Vice President Pomares to take resolutions 28 and 29 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Graham, absent, Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 30 through 33, which are from the Office of the County Council, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Gazione will handle these items.
Good evening, Courtney Gazione, Essex County Council. Resolution number 30 is a request for an approval by the Board of Commissioners to allow the County of Essex to purchase or the approval of the purchase sale agreement for the purchase of 346 to 360 University Avenue in Newark, New Jersey. The board will recall that in 2019, the county purchased 320 to 321 University Avenue, which now houses our DFAB offices. Immediately adjacent to that property is what is currently a parking lot that is leased by Essex County for the purposes of parking. As part of that lease agreement, there was an option to purchase that property at a later time. When we entered into that lease in 2019, the county is now seeking to purchase this property in the amount of $4.5 million. And the intention for the use of this property is to erect a new building that will house judicial, administrative, and court space for the state of New Jersey. That space is currently being utilized at Halsey Street, also known as the Willents Building, where we own 3 condo units. That space is currently being occupied by the state court system, and the county executive is seeking to purchase this land, erect a new building, and then move those courtrooms to this new space upon the completion of the project. That will result in a cost savings, an annual cost savings to the county of over $2 million, approximately $2.1 million in annual savings by divesting ourselves of the condo units at the Willents building. I'm happy to take any questions, or I can move on to number 31 if you'd like to come back to that with any questions.
Yeah, just keep going until you get to the end.
Resolution 31 is approval for the list of qualified licensed court reporters. This is similar to the list we come before the board with every year. The county counsel's office has the need throughout the year to utilize court reporting services for depositions and hearings, etc. This is a public advertised RFQ. Eligible court reporters in the state of New Jersey are eligible to respond, and then they are placed on the qualified list, and then on an as-needed basis, we can select off that list to utilize their services. Resolution number 32 is a similar request for approval of a list of qualified outside legal counsel. This also allows the county counsel's office to put out a publicly advertised RFQ. Once that list comes back, all qualified attorneys certified to practice law in the state of New Jersey will be placed on that list, and then on an as-needed basis, the county counsel's office will select law firms off of that list to handle specific outside counsel matters on an as-needed basis, so that the county counsel's office seeks approval of that list as well. Would you like me to do number 33 as well, Commissioner President?
Please.
Okay. Again, Resolution 33 is also similar, requesting approval by the board of a list of qualified licensed real estate appraisers. We also utilize the services of real estate appraisers throughout the year. We put out an RFQ every year requesting qualified appraisers to respond. They then appear on that list, which we're seeking approval of, and then we can select them on an as-needed basis throughout the course of the year.
Thank you, Ms. Gassion. Ms. Shabazz, questions or comments?
No legal questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
The only thing I have to add to that is, Courtney, there is an appraisal for the $4.5 million.
There is of the property that we are purchasing. There is an appraisal, yes, that I can provide to you, right? Yeah.
And it's equal or greater than the 4.5? Or?
That is correct.
All right. Thank you very much.
So which one is it? Is it equal to or is it greater than?
It's greater than.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Cooper to take resolutions 30 through 33 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano.
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado.
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo.
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares.
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 34 and 35, which are from the Division of Family Assistance and Benefits, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Richardson Green will handle these 2 items, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, Valentina Richardson Green, Director of DFAB, seeking approval to provide contracts for emergency shelter and transitional housing services for homeless individuals and families. DFAB provides emergency shelter services and transitional housing for homeless and those receiving economic assistance through either federal or state programs, TANF, GA, or SSI.
We're looking in the amount not to exceed $25,866,470. The second is we're seeking approval of our lease agreement with the National Center of Advocacy and Recovery for Behavioral Health. That is NCAR. They provide supportive services for our individuals and families who are affected by alcoholism, drug dependency, to promote excellence in prevention and treatment initiatives. They are leasing space at our location at 320 University Avenue on the second floor with revenue to be $13,456.95. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson Green. Ms. Shabazz.
No legal questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Gill to take resolutions 34 and 35 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano, absent. Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper, Commissioner Vice President Pamela,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Mr. President, did you hear my yes?
We did.
Yes, we
recorded
did.
it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 36 and added starter 117, which are from the Division of Community Action, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Mr. McCoy will handle these two. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Terrence McCoy, Division of Community Action. We are looking to extend, but by way of the United States Department of Treasury, our grant for ERAP, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, for folks that were financially impacted by the COVID pandemic, to continue with helping them because they are still in need. So the federal government extended our grant to September 30th of 2022 for us to continue with those services. For 117, as we're getting prepared for the cold weather, we put out a competitive contract for RFP contract for shelters to bid for the sheltering of our constituents that are homeless on the street when it gets cold out. However, that bid has not been returned back to us, so we put aside $50,000 to pay shelters who are willing to help us shelter those people that are homeless on the street from the frigid cold weather.
Thank you. Ms. Shabazz.
No questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
Is that $50,000 part of the same resolution? The emergency rental assistance?
No, that's a part of a grant of the $545,000 that Mr. Jackson read earlier.
Oh, okay. That we already approved.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioners, questions or comments?
Mr. President?
Commissioner Cooper.
When is the last day to apply for the emergency rental assistance and the mortgage assistance programs that we advertise?
The mortgage assistance, I'm not familiar with. I'm not handling that program, but for the rental assistance, we're going all the way to September 30th of 2022.
Oh, all right.
Through you,
I was
Mr.
asked that question. I didn't know the answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, wait, I do have another question. Can you give us the list of agencies that I can refer people to? I only know of one. I know there were a couple that you guys gave money to.
Sure. Do you want me to send that to your office via email with the list of them, or you want them right now?
No, email would be perfect. And then I can just forward it. Thank you.
Okay,
If
no
you would
problem. I'll do
email
that tomorrow.
If you would
But I can
email
tell
it to
you,
the
I can
clerk,
tell you. Okay. But I can also right now
email
let
it
you
to
know
the
which
clerk and
agencies
have the
those
clerk.
are. I'm sorry,
Terrence,
Mr. President, I interrupted you.
Just email them to the clerk, Mr. McCoy.
Yes,
Okay, we'll do. I'll
email
do
the
that first thing
information to
tomorrow.
the clerk and the clerk will disseminate. Thank you.
Will do.
Mr. President, if I may, is this just a mention of the date, not the amount of funding? The funding's already there.
Yes, the funding exists already. It's just extending the grant from December 31st, 2021 to September 30th of 2022.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Vice President Pomares and a second from Commissioner Mercado. Take resolutions 36 and 117 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Commissioner Siebel. Commissioner Mercado.
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano. Absent. Commissioner Johnson. Absent. Commissioner Graham. Absent. Commissioner Gill.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel.
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares.
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolution 37, which is from the hospital center, and we'll read it into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Delgaudio.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mr. President. Frank Delgaudio, Director, Essex County Hospital Center. This item is a resolution for a non-fair and open contract with a sheltered workshop, Hudson Community Enterprises, to perform housekeeping services for the Essex County Hospital Center. I do believe Mr. John Cox is on the vendor line. If there are any questions for him.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Cox. I'm the Senior VP over at Hudson Community Enterprises. Hudson Community Enterprises is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. For over 60 years, we've been providing a variety of services to people with varying abilities. We offer an array of training and services along with employment opportunities to persons with disabilities. HCE has offices located in both Essex County and Hudson County. We employ over 100 people in Essex County who are Essex County residents in the approximate 19 work sites that we currently service located within the county. Estimated payroll expenditures for these 105 people for 2021 is approximately $2.2 million, which will increase during 2022 to $2.5 million.
Thank you so much. Mr.
Thank
Shabazz.
you. Appreciate the option.
Ms. Shabazz.
No questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
Just so we were told about $2.5 million of this contract was expended in the prior year. I guess it would be the prior 2 years. Was it a 2-year contract the last time this contract was vetted?
Yes. This is Frank Delgaudio, Director, Essex County Hospital Center. Mr. President, yes, it's a 2-year contract.
And the expenditures in that the prior 2-year contract were approximately $2.5 million.
Yeah, it's a fixed monthly amount.
Oh, it's a fixed amount.
Correct.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Frank.
Just one other note too, that Hudson Community currently employs 3 of our patients, and they perform services around the hospital center as part of the sheltered workshop.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Sebo and a second from Vice President Pomares. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Graham, Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Please be reminded, we will conduct a public comment session for non-agenda items at the end of the meeting for any other call-ins. Clerk can give them the call-in information. Can you give them the call information?
Yes, Mr. President. If you're calling in, the number is 855-756-7520 and use the password 77575#. After entering the password, listen for the prompt to press 0 to be placed in the queue to speak during the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 38 through 49, which are from the Department of Parks, and we'll read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zates will handle these items.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Park. Number 38 is a 36-month agreement with Terry Guess for the publication management of the Spirit of Essex newsletter in an amount not to exceed $150,000. Specifically, this is for 4 issues per year over the course of 3 years. So that would be a total of 12 issues. Each issue will be 24 pages. Number 39 is a contract award to Millennium Strategies to provide grant procurement services, 36 months, not to exceed $134,400. We have been working with Millennium Strategies for a number of years. They've been vital in filing various grant applications. Just to give the board a brief history of some of the applications they filed and the amounts we have received. For the 2021 Green Acres program, they filed applications on behalf of the county and its nonprofit partners, and we are slated to be awarded $4.5 million. In 2019, again for Green Acres, $1.9 million, and then over the past roughly 3 to 4 years with ECA, we received a total of $21 million for split between Weequake, Westside Park, Watsessing, Hendricks, and then the First Tee program over at Hendricks as well. Number 40 is a contract award to the 2 lowest responsive bidders to provide produce over at the Turtleback Zoo, amount not to exceed $190,000. These are for various apples, bananas, cabbage, you name it, plant-based items. It is split between Plainfield Produce and National Marathon. Number 41 is a contract award with First Direct Products to furnish and deliver Swan pedal boats. This is a 6-month agreement not to exceed $188,169. These are for the Swan boats that residents use over at the Orange Reservoir in the South Mountain Recreation Complex. We are allowed to purchase up to 24 boats, and we've committed to purchase at least 12. The amount per boat is $7,632. Number 42 is a contract award to EasyGo Division for provide golf carts and utility vehicles, amount not to exceed $1,362,462.08. As well as number 43 is a contract award also to EasyGo for lithium-powered golf carts, amount not to exceed $480,891.52. And we have on the line our golf director, Tim Smith, as well as a representative from EasyGo to discuss these specific reports with you. Tim or EasyGo, it's whoever would want to Stewart?
Yep, I'm here. Sorry. This is Andrew Bolzak with EasyGo, division of Textron Inc. As previously stated, this is for Resolution 42 and 43. Resolution 42 is to provide golf carts and utility vehicles. Our golf carts are under the brand name EasyGo. Our utility vehicles are under the brand name Cushman, which is all owned and operated by Textron Specialized Vehicles. We will be providing golf carts and utility vehicles from both manufacturers for Hendricks Field, Francis Byrne, Week Wake, South Mountain Maintenance Yard, Turtleback Zoo, Brookdale Park, the Environmental Center in Roseland, Cody Arena, as well as Branch Brook Park. Those contracts are running from May 1st, 2022 to April 30th, 2026. Very similar to Resolution 43, which is for lithium-powered golf carts. That'll be the same contract period of May 1st, 2022 to April 30th, 2026. Those lithium-powered golf carts will be at Hendricks Field.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Number 44 is a resolution that enables us to then do 45 and 46. 44 is just simply waiving the reference to the 1998 budget levels for the Essex County Open Space and Recreation Trust Fund. Number 45 is a resolution for the allocation of funds from the Essex County Recreation Open Space Trust Fund for maintenance staffing for the year 2022, amount not to exceed $4,966,558,000. This is specifically for 45 positions. The salaries for those positions equals $2,755,782. The overtime is $600,000, and then the fringe calculated at 48% is $1,610,775.36, which gives you the total of $4,966,558. This is a slight decrease from the 2021 funding. It's about $83,000 less than last year. Number 46 is again from the Open Space Trust Fund, amount not to exceed $175,000. This is for improvements that throughout the park, basically for general maintenance. Number 47 is an allocation in the amount not to exceed $241,520 from the Open Space Trust Fund for the Brookdale Park, for design services for the Brookdale Park, Bandstand, and Brantford Park bocce improvements. Specifically, this is the funding source for number 50, which is coming up later on the agenda. And when we get to that, Public Works would be addressing the actual project scope. Number 48 is an amount not to exceed $658,660 from the Open Space Trust Fund for the Little League baseball field improvements at Glenfield Park. And similarly, this is the funding source for number 51, which will be discussed when that item comes up. And then finally, number 49 is allocation not to exceed $328,342 from the Recreation Open Space Trust Fund for fencing improvements at Brantford Park. And again, this is the funding source for number 52, which will be discussed when that contract comes in. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Zates. Mr. Baz.
No questions, Mr. President.
Okay. Mr. McInerney.
Just give me 1 second here. I had a question. The ordinance, the resolution number 44. I remember when that was put into place back in 1998 and the reasons for it. But it's something we have to bring up every year. And has it ever been contemplated whether or not we need to continue to bring this before the Board of Commissioners? It was to restrain the use of the Open Space Trust Fund, so it's not supplanting the operating budget line item in the current fund. But I believe at levels of 1998, so it kind of makes it moot. And so I'll just put it out there if it's something that the administration thinks we should talk about, and again, see if there's a rationale for not having to bring this up year after year. It seems like it's just not worth it.
Thank you, Mr. McInerney. No one wants to address that? Okay.
No, I'll just so noted, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Commissioners, any questions or comments?
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo.
Many of these items were discussed in full at the Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board meeting, which took place on November 30th, 2021. And we didn't include all of them because all of them didn't pertain to us. But mostly, I think it was 44 through 49, and it was discussed in detail, and we were very pleased with what was going to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sebo. And on that note,
Mr. President?
Commissioner Gill.
Thank you. What total, I know there's quite a few. Can you give me just the total number, or through you, Mr. President and Madam Clerk, what number do we start here with and what number are we ending?
38 through 49.
Okay. For 38 and 39, do we have representatives from number 38 or 39 with us?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Because it's a multi-year contract, we do not have representatives since it would be under 100%.
Got it. It's multi-year. Just on 39, where does that publication go?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks.
38.
Through you, Mr. President. I thought you were referring to 38. It gets mailed out to residents throughout Essex County, and it's also available on the Parks Department's website. We also put a number of copies in various park buildings, senior buildings, the zoo, the arena, environmental center, etc.
Okay. Does that happen? But when we mail, do we proactively mail that to residents, a household? We mail it countywide, or is it a list that Parks keeps?
Through you, Mr. President, it's definitely a list that Parks keeps. I'm not sure if it's countywide, but we can certainly get back to you and let you know.
And it's a newsletter. We promoting our own activity.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President, that is correct.
And who writes the content for it?
So it's jointly written by the Parks Department with the vendor Terry Geis. We give her input into what kind of articles we would like. Sometimes we provide the pictures. Sometimes the pictures are provided to us. But it's a joint effort between the department and the vendor.
Okay, great. I'm assuming that commissioners are on the mailing list.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. I will certainly verify that.
Okay,
I get it
thank you.
every year. I get it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the board for 11 years. I've never seen it. so just could I be added to the mailing list?
Certainly, Commissioner. Yeah, we will definitely add you to the mailing list as well as all the other.
I'm not doubting that it's great and that we do it. I just would love to see it.
Certainly, we apologize for that.
On
11 years, huh?
Yeah,
he gets all of the backup.
Exactly. Past publication. Or maybe 10 years.
Everyone.
10 years. 10 years. 10 years starting in January, Mr. President. 39.
Yeah. Wow.
So 39 is an amount not to exceed. What was the past amount spent on that vendor prior?
Dates Essex County Parks. So the previous contract for these services was $122,190, and we currently expended $46,432.
That was also a 30, it was Sim, it was a 36-month
Correct. It was a competitive contract as well.
competitive contract.
Yes.
And the vendor charges us per application.
Through you, Mr. President, the fee is $140 per hour. So depending on the number of hours that were in the application.
Got it. Okay. Just on number 48. So the county executive announced for Glenfield Park he announced publicly a $5 million spend for a new park house and other improvements at Glenfield Park last Friday. Is this the baseball field improvements part of that $5 million that was announced that we're going to be spending?
Joshua Zates, County Parks. Through you, Mr. President, I would have to get back to you for that. I know there's going to be a $5 million grant coming our way. I'm not sure if that's just specifically for the building or if it's going to tie in some other amenities. But we will check and get back to the board.
Okay, so through you, Mr. President. So that particular amount was actually, I saw listed on the state's release of the American Rescue Act dollars as a specific line item in the list that the state released about a week ago on AARP money, which said $5 million for Glenfield Park.
Mr. President, Mr. Zaid, the $5 million, Commissioner, was geared to the Wally Choice Field House, and the money for the field is additional dollars.
Okay.
But we're also going to have to put in money. The project for the field house is going to be more than $5 million. Well, we're going to have to put in additional money to that, but the field is a separate amount.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. So we don't have, so in terms of, where are we in terms of that process though? So we're with the field house, and have we gone out for bid? Like where are we in terms of that process, and when can we expect to potentially see a more formal?
I will defer to Mr. Coltrane on that.
Mr. Coltrane, you're on mute, sir.
Mr. President, while we're looking for it, I will go through my files and while I'm sitting here and get you that answer.
Yeah, I guess the more broad question I'm just asking the administration is, I mean, since we made this public announcement, of course, we're getting a lot of questions. So I'm just trying to get a sense of the timeline on what, how the timeline will work for the project, and when we could have more potential definition, since we released, I guess, I don't know, I wasn't a part of it. So apparently we released drawings and other types of things to the public at that meeting that have been.
Yes, through you, Mr. President. Yes, there were concept plans that were shown, concept shows, plans that were shown. Still in the process of refining those, but I think 2023, I think, is a timeline for if we would proceed the kind of completion that we're talking about. And I guess the good news is that the current Wally Choice facility does not have to close down while this is under construction. So those activities can remain in the older building while the new building is under construction.
Great. And there's nothing in those drawings, Mr. Jackson, that was somewhat confusing. That is there any plans to build where the current where the relatively newer playground now sits?
You're referring to what we would locally call the baby park, the old baby park where
the old baby, yes.
No.
Okay.
There are no such plans.
Okay.
Mr. President, if I could just
Permit-
make some, if I could just make something clear. The Open Space Trust Fund discussed the Glenfield Park Little League baseball field and the improvements which go with that baseball field. And I could list all of them. There's a list here that I have of all the improvements to the baseball field, but that has nothing to do with the field house. That is not what we're voting on tonight. It's only what we discussed at the Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board that's on the agenda for the baseball field at Glenfield Park. I just wanted to be clear in terms of what we're voting on. Thank you.
Mr. President, I just spoke to the county engineer. We have been out for design already, and once the design is completed, we'll be going out to bid sometime in early 2022.
Great.
Thank
So-
you, Jay.
Thanks. So, dear Mr. President, just a couple of quick 2 more follow-up questions, if I may. Thank you. So on that particular item, so those items will still have to come back to the board, right, for approval, like any other project that we do. So we would expect to see that back before the board.
Yes.
Through you, Mr. President, that's correct, Commissioner.
Great. And I just wanted to reconfirm, I think I saw it listed on the list of improvements to the baseball field that, and thank you for highlighting this, but I do believe that the scoreboard is included on those list of improvements.
Yes.
A working scoreboard.
Electronic scoreboard.
Okay. So the current one will be replaced.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Great. Okay, thank you.
The president said, Mr. Vice President, if you could take over.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that? Wayne, is that okay with you? Okay, thank you, Mr. President. All right, so while we resolve the technical issues that Commissioner President is having, we'll act really slow and give him some time to get back on. So, all right, so I believe we were just having discussion on these agenda items. If Madam Clerk, if we could refresh the number of agenda items, there were a good number of them that we were discussing. Can you just, for the record, and number, just describe the ones we were discussing, and then we'll see if there's any other commissioner comments, and we'll move forward with the roll call.
Yes, Mr. Vice President. We were discussing items 38 through 49.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any other questions regarding any of these? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
It has to be moved.
We need a mover and a second.
I'm sorry, I didn't move. So can I have a Commissioner Sebo, would you care to move?
I will move on.
I will
Thank you.
second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mercado, seconded. Let's call the roll.
Commissioner Cooper. Absent.
Yes.
Commissioner.
Yes.
I hear you. Commissioner Cooper is a yes. Commissioner Gill. Commissioner Gill.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano.
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado.
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo.
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares.
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson. Absent.
He's here.
Oh,
He
yes,
just-
I see. I see. Commissioner President Richardson is a yes with this visual symbol for yes. So moved.
Madam Clerk, I'll read that and interpret that as a yes as well. And at this point, before we move on, we just want to check with the Commissioner President and see if he has the ability to come on in. You want to give that a shot there, Mr. President? Or are we having technical issues? All right.
Continue.
I'm going to accept this as a universal sign for a keep going. And so now how we do it here in Essex County, we're going to play it by ear. So I think we're on agenda item number 50. Madam Clerk, please read this into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We're actually going to have 50 through 59, and Mr. Antonio is going to handle these items.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. David Antonio, Department of Public Works. Item number 50 is an award to Barreto Dowd to provide architectural design services for the concert band shell at Brookdale Park and the Bocce courts at Brantford Park. This will be a 12-month contract, not to exceed $241,520. It will be funded through the trust fund, and Barreto Dowd was the highest rated proposal of the 4 who responded to this project's RFP. Mr. Dan Dowd of Barreto Dowd is on the phone with us to discuss the scope of work and answer any questions that the board may have. Dan, are you there?
Doesn't sound like he's here. Why don't we come back to him, Mr. Antonio?
Sure. David Antonio, Department of Public Works. Item number 51 is a contract award to Land Tech Group to provide for the Glenfield Park Little League Baseball field improvements. This will be a 90-day contract, not to exceed $658,660. Again, this will be funded through the trust fund. Land Tech is the lowest responsive bidder of the 2 submitted bids for this project. Land Tech's Jim Chimento should be on the phone to describe his company, the scope of work, and answer any board questions. Jim, are you there? Mr. Chimento?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay. Yes, I'm Jim Chimento, the project manager for Land Tech Group.
Wonderful. Why don't you tell us about yourself, your company, and what the project is entailing?
Okay. Well, I have over 35 years experience in parks and recreation work. I've done many jobs with the County of Essex with my former company. I am now with the Land Tech Group as a project manager. I am very familiar with Glenfield Park. I built the ball fields there years ago. Now I see they're being redone. I'll tell you a little bit about the project. The project consists of re-turfing the existing field, installing LED light upgrades, new scoreboard, bleachers, and a drinking fountain with a dog waterer, and various benches. And that's just in a nutshell.
Wonderful. Now, I know that Commissioner Gill, I'm going to take a point of privilege here. Commissioner Gill had asked specifically about the scoreboard. Can you elaborate anything on the scoreboard?
Myself?
Yes, sir.
Well, without me showing you the plans and whatnot, it's a Daktronic scoreboard is all I can really tell you right now. I don't have the plans open in front of me, but what kind of questions do you have about it?
Commissioner Gill, I know we usually don't take things out of sorts, but you had a good number of questions on this, and I wanted to make sure that you got all your questions answered because this project is very important to you. Do you have any very specific questions, or did we have them all answered earlier?
Hey, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Many of those have been communicated and answered to the administration. I think just but most fundamentally is let's just make sure it works. And it took some not too long ago. It took some serious damage, I'm sure, as the administration knows, in a prior storm. So it's in addition to just like having it being able to function. There was no issue with the design or placement, at least in my opinion. We'll obviously defer to the professionals on that. But something that's working and easy accessible for those who use it to make it work would be appreciated.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, thank you. I think we're good with this. Mr. Antonio?
Yes, sir. Item number 52 is a contract award to Fox Fence Enterprises to provide for the Brantford Park perimeter fence improvement. This will be a 90-day contract. It will not exceed $328,342. Again, this money is through the trust fund. And Fox Fence Enterprises was the lowest bidder of the four that were received for this contract bid. Mr. Will Tapia is joining us tonight to introduce Fox Fence Enterprises, to describe the scope of work, and answer any questions. Will, are you on the phone right now?
Yes, I am.
Welcome. Why don't you tell
my
us a
name is-
little bit about your company, please, and the overview of the project?
Yes, my name is Will Tapia. I represent Fox Fence Enterprises. We've been in business for approximately 82 years. The scope of work consists of removing 300 panels along with posts, steel, and we will be sandblasting them, dipping them, and putting them back wherever the county sees fit. That's the scope of work.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Antonio?
Item number 53 is a resolution consenting to the City of Newark South Orange Avenue bus stop relocation. There's a current bus stop along South Orange Avenue near the West End Avenue intersection. The City of Newark seeks to relocate that bus stop a little bit away to Vermont Avenue. This request was generated by NJ Transit, and an ordinance was passed by the City of Newark, and tonight we're looking to pass a resolution of consent. Item number 54 is an award to Remington and Vernick to provide design services for the roof replacement of the correctional facility. This will be a 12-month contract. It will not exceed $132,000. It will be paid through current funds. And Remington and Vernick's proposal was the highest scoring proposal of the 15 responses we received for this project RFP. Ken Ressler from Remington and Vernick is on the phone tonight to discuss the project in greater detail and answer any questions the board may have. Ken, are you available right now to speak with us?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
This is Ken Ressler from Remington and Vernick Engineers, and this is our proposal. Like you said, it's not to exceed $132,000, and this is for the replacement of the roofs at the correctional facility in Newark. It includes 4 buildings, the 3 housing units, and then the 1 support services building. The total square foot is about 335,000 square feet for the building.
Good, thank you. Okay, Mr. Antonio?
Item number 55, an award to French Amparello to provide engineering design services to undertake the 2022 roadway resurfacing program. This will entail developing construction plans for the 11 roadway sections, which will be included in the 2022 program. This contract will not exceed $57,750. The duration will be 12 months. It will be paid through capital funds. And this is pretty much that of number 55. Item number 56 is a contract award to Northeast Roof Maintenance, the lowest responsive bidder for roofing services for various Essex County buildings. This will be a 730-day contract. It will not exceed $180,450. They were the lowest bidder of the 4 bids received. Item number 57 is award of contract to Lembo. I apologize. Item number 57 is a 2-year contract extension option being exercised to Lembo Car and Truck Collision and DeFalco Instant Towing to provide collision repair for Essex County vehicles. Item number 58 is a contract change order with French Amparello for additional engineering services needed for the replacement of minor bridges. This will add an additional $45,000 to the contract, which yields an approximate 8.3% change order. This is due to additional engineering work required based on review by the Historic Preservation and other state agencies. The engineering team required additional work and deliverables to be made to satisfy requirements. Item number 59 is a contract award to APS to provide masonry work of various county facilities. This is a 2-year contract extension. It will not exceed $614,200. It's capital funded, and Mr. Daniel Carmalt is on the phone tonight to discuss the company and answer any board questions, if there are any. Mr. Daniel, if you're on, would you like to say something?
Yes, this is Daniel Carmalt from APS Contracting, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the board members might have. This is a contract extension for basic masonry services throughout the county, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Good, thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Antonio, is that all right? That's through 59?
Yes, Mr. Vice President, that is correct. That is all items.
Thank you. Ms. Shabazz, any questions? Ms. Shabazz?
No legal questions.
Thank you. Mr. McInerney?
Did we go back to 50 and resolve that?
Number 50, I don't think we got the caller on the line. Was that available? I think that was Dan. Mr. Antonio, do you want to see if you can call whoever is the representative for number 50?
Surely I would do that.
That's up to you, Mr. Vice President. That's up to you.
No, you're right. It's a good point, Mr. McInerney, and we should at least give it another attempt.
I will attempt to retouch him, Mr. Dowd, Mr. Vice President.
Okay, no worries. Commissioners, any questions? Seeing none, Mr. President, are you back online with us, or are we just on visual? Looks like we're just on visual. Okay. All right, Madam Clerk, seeing that we have no more questions, we're going to ask for a mover. I think, give me 1 second here. I see Commissioner Mercado. I got a motion from Mr. Mercado, and I have a second from Commissioner Gill. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Can you give us a thumbs up? Is that, I think we're good with that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you,
We
Madam Clerk.
recognize the visual symbol for yes from Commissioner President Richardson.
Can you hear me now?
So,
There you go.
yeah. Yes.
I'm a yes. Let's see if we can keep it going.
All right, Mr. President, we are on number 60 right now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can, Mr. President.
Okay, we're on 60. All right.
Yes.
Thank you, VP. Appreciate you, brother. Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to resolution number 60, which is from the Office of Human Resources, and we will read it into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. This is a contract with Aetna Life Insurance Company. As the board recalls, when we moved into state health benefits in 2017, we offered free dental coverage to any employee who was with us as of 12/31/2016, and we continue to do that at a cost of $1,370,000. This will be for the year January 1, 2022 through the end of the year, December 31st. This is the same cost as last year, and again, this is covered by the county and no cost to our employees.
Mr. Bass.
No question, Mr. President. That was weird. I said no questions. Did it come through? Because I heard it.
You're echoing.
What about now?
Yes, we heard you.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have any questions either.
I don't think President Richardson is on again. No, he's moving his lips, but we can't hear him.
Mr. President, we can't hear you now, but at this time, if you like, while you sort that, I can ask and query any of the commissioners if they have any questions. Okay. Okay, seeing none, see we have we have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Gill to take number 61 and 2, correct?
We didn't do 2.
I'm sorry, 61.
60, it'll be 60.
60, my apologies here. Little mishap, okay. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
And this is for Resolution 60, Mr. Vice
Correct.
President?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Commissioner Gill?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado?
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares?
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson?
Mr. President, can we get a thumbs up or down for you on number 60? I don't think he can hear us at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think he can hear you.
Mr. Vice President, we will say absent for the moment, and then we'll come back. If he chooses later, he can, before the meeting, amend his vote.
Agreed. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
So moved.
He just raised his thumb. Did anyone send him the telephone number so he can call?
Yes.
We saw the symbol for yes, Mr. Vice President, on 60.
Correct,
Can you
yes,
hear
from
me?
Mr. President.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay, now we got the president back on. Great, Mr. President, we're on 61.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to resolutions 61 and 62, which are from the Office of Purchasing, and we'll read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. Mr. Coltrane.
Yes, Mr. President, this is a lease agreement with LA Parking. It's for 52 parking spaces for judges who work at the Wilentz Building. Look, the space is located at 261 University Avenue. We're paying $200 per space. Not go up, and hopefully with a 1-year extension, and hopefully upon erecting the new building, this lease will go away also as additional revenue. Number 62 is the annual omnibus for $25 million. The last year, 2021, we spent $20,411,676.66, and this is through various co-ops, state contracts for various departments throughout the county. Would you like me to do 63 and 64, Mr. President?
No, not yet. Mr. Bass.
No question, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Commissioner, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Gill to take resolutions 61 and 62 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolution 63, which is from the Office of the County Exec, and we'll read it into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Coltrane.
This was a publicly advertised RFP. We received one proposal out of 8 potential, amount not to exceed $60,000, and it was awarded to Glenn Frierson, who takes photography for the county executive.
Ms. Shabazz.
No questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions other than what came up with the leadership is that this will no longer be allocated, portions of this cost of this contract will no longer be allocated to the Board of Commissioners budget.
Correct. Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Vice President Pomares and a second from Commissioner Siebel. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions number 64 and 115, which are from the Office of the Board of Commissioners, and we'll read them into the record at a later time. Madam Clerk, please explain the resolution.
Okay, Mr. President, on resolution 64, and this is a contract award to Jerry Schoenthal, Golden Star Video, to provide recording services of the board commissioner meetings or any other commissioner activities as designated for one contract extension. not to exceed 55,000. And he also handles the relationship with the cable company with uploading any of our board meeting programs or special programs. And the other resolution number is 115, and that's a contract or to audio digital transcription services to provide, continue to provide transcription services for the board meetings. This is a 1-month contract extension. She had retired and did not respond to a request for an RFP for 2022. However, we received only one response, and that response, the vendor who responded was determined to be non-responsive. So we need this 1-month extension to go back out and to find a vendor for this service.
Mr. President, Julius Coulter, County Purchasing Director. On 115, this extension, there was a 1-year extension. We are going to ask the board to extend it for 1 year just in case she may be able to help additionally after that month. We always can cancel the contract as we do with anybody else, or if she does not want to participate. This will give us a little bit of additional time if that's what you would like, just in case it's over a month. This way you're not locked into just 1 month.
Makes sense. Let's do the extension for the year, and like you said, we can cancel at any time. So just in case we need it for more than a month and she's available, we'll be able to do it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome, Madam Clerk. Mr. Bass.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
On resolution 64, I don't need it now, but can the clerk of the board let me know how much was expended on this contract in 2021 so far against the 55?
Yes, we will get that information to you.
Okay.
Mr. President, Julius Coulter, Deputy County Administrator. Out of operating funds, you spent $10,945 in 2021, and in 2020, you expended $6,130.
I'm sorry, what was
Through you, Mr.
2020? How much was expended, Jay?
In 21, you spent $10,945. In 20, you spent $16,130.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
And through you, Mr. President,
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
through you, Mr. President, just an additional clarification on the amount expended for this vendor. It has been significantly less over the last 2 years due to COVID and going virtually. So we have been using him less in-house. And because we've been doing a majority of our programs virtually, the expenditure with this vendor has significantly decreased.
Understood. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yeah, I'm just asking for budget purposes for the board in 2022, that's all.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Stevens.
I don't have a copy of Resolution 115. I don't know why. That's the only resolution I don't have. But since it was indicated by Mr. Coulter that it will be for 1 year, will that resolution indicate that it will be for 1 year?
The one we have in front of us, indicates for 1 month, but we can change the language to make it reflect 1 year.
Well, that's what I'm questioning, whether that will be changed to indicate it's for 1 year.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you for the question. Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Sebo to take resolution 64 and 115 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent, Commissioner Johnson, absent, Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson,
Yes.
so moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions number 65 through 69 and added starter 120, which are from the Department of Corrections, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ortiz and Mr. Cirillo will address these items, Mr. President.
Good evening, Commissioners. Warden Cirillo will be with me and jump in as necessary on a couple of given issues here. But item 65, Department of Corrections contract award to Safariland LLC to provide various defense technology brand riot control supplies under state contract, and the amount not to exceed $1,646.30. These are equipment replacements and upgrades to our security equipment that includes batons, headgear, flak jackets, and protective gear for our officers. Some of them are just being replaced due to wear and tear. Others are just upgraded. I'll continue on to the next one, and I'll be happy to answer any question as when I get done. Is that okay with you, Mr. President?
Let's keep moving on. Yes, sir.
Okay. Department of Corrections contract award to Atlantic Tactical, Inc. to provide Winchester ammunitions. This purchase is to provide our officers for their ammo for their off-duty weapons that we issue, and to also provide ammo for requalifications that are required. Item 67, Department of Corrections contract award to Motorcycle Mall, the sole responsible bidder, to furnish and deliver one 2021 or newer Polaris Ranger Crew North Star Ultimate Edition. It's a four-wheeler that we need in order to search the outside areas that are muddied, and when the weather comes, we cannot search those areas. Should there be an emergency such as was back in January, we couldn't get to those areas on foot, and other vehicles would get stuck in the mud or whatever have you, and or not totally accessible by walking and whatever have you. So we would need this particular type of equipment. Number 68, Department of Corrections contract award to the two lowest responsible bidders for the items on a unit cost basis to furnish delivered inmate uniforms. The issue here is that there's two vendors that are the lowest bidders. One of them has, for example, the shirts and the pants, and the other one has the white that we require for kitchen and the infirmary use. So we're going to use the two lowest bidder, or if they do have the same item, whichever one is the lowest will be utilized in that manner, not to exceed $350,000. And number 120 was where Mr. Anthony Ambrose and his group are being utilized for the purpose of reviewing and assessing our operations, and to the amount of $150,000. But Mr. Ambrose sends his regrets. He had to attend to a family affair out of town, but he will be reporting as needed, or as the completion of the review. So with that, I'll be happy, and my warden will be happy to respond to any question. And we also have a representative from, we have one more item, the Delaney Hall. Sorry about that, number 69. Contract award to Geo Group to provide off-site housing to inmates confined at the Essex County Correctional Facility.
We have two individuals here from GL, Mr. Larry Shorman and Melissa Creighton, regional managers. And obviously, we need to have a place to house upwards of 350 inmates. This contract for 350 inmates to be housed there in this agreement. And Mr. Shorman and Miss Melissa can expound on that once we get to that. So I'll turn it back to you, Mr. President, so you tell me where to go with that. I want to start with number 64, sir, or 65. Mr. President.
Mr. Bass, any questions?
No, I do not. I do not have any legal questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McEnany.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I did get from the administration the request for the population of this facility, and it seems fairly consistent from month to month during 2021. I thought there was maybe a large reduction, but according to what I saw in those population numbers, it is fairly consistent. Around what what Director Ortiz said, around the two, around 300 or there around.
Thank you, Mr. McEnany. Commissioner, any questions or comments?
Mr. President, again, I'm sorry, just having numbers 65. Madam Clerk, which numbers, resolutions here?
This is from 65 through 69 and 120.
Got it. 120 was the added. 120 was the added start. 120 was the contract with Mr. Ambrose.
Correct.
So thank you, Mr. President. So through you, Mr. President, just to follow up on that. So what are we going to be receiving anything further or any other update that we've received up to this point on the incidents at the correctional facility, on the two incidents, the two that happened this most recently? And in terms of this contract, what exactly is he investigating, and what we as a board can we expect to see at the conclusion of that, or what are the parameters of this investigation?
Mr. President, Al Ortiz, through you, if I may answer that. Both incidences are under investigation by the prosecutors, the AG's office, so that is ongoing. And obviously, when that is concluded, we will share that with it'll be shared with the commissioners. With regard to the Ambrose group, the county has opted to have that particular group come in. They're specialists, subject matter specialists in policy and procedures, police practice and procedures. And Mr. Ambrose and I was a part of the issue that brought them forth, that they'll be reporting to the county executive, and obviously I'm almost positive that it'll be shared with the county commissioners.
I mean, so through you, Mr. President, I mean, I appreciate maybe shared with us, but if we're voting to allocate this money, through you, Mr. President, I'd like to ask our council, I want to make sure that it's absolutely shared with us.
Mr. President, Al Ortiz, I misspoke. I'm almost, what I say is I am not in that position to make that decision, but I am certain that all these matters, and I spoke to Mr. Ambrose today, and he said that he will be reporting back to you as you required here tonight. So the answer will be yes.
Mr. Ortiz, I don't think you're correct. You're not in the position to answer that question. But we do have the business administrator on, and we have corporation counsel on. So one of them should be able to answer that question definitively.
So if I may, Mr. President, Courtney Gassion, Essex County Council. So with respect to the second question asked by Commissioner Gill, there is a requirement under the terms of the MOA that have been entered into with the Ambrose Group that they do provide a preliminary report as a result of their evaluation within 90 days of commencing their investigation and review. And that review of all the policies and procedures that Director Ortiz mentioned will begin next week. So it will be within 90 days of that date. And the anticipation is that once that initial report is completed, it will be shared with the county administration as well as the Board of Commissioners.
Mr. Gill, Commissioner Gill?
Thank you, Mr. President. So this will be investigating protocols, but not these specific cases. My understanding correctly?
They will, well, as Mr. Ortiz indicated, sorry, Courtney Gassion, Essex County Council, as Director Ortiz indicated, those two matters are currently under investigation by the prosecutor's office as well as the Attorney General's office. They would not, much like the Civilian Task Force, be able to come in at this time and conduct their own independent investigation into those matters until such time as those investigations are included. They were not retained for the specific purposes of reviewing those two incidents. They were retained, as Director Ortiz indicated, to review the overall policies, practices, and procedures of the Essex County Correctional Facility.
Through you, Mr. President, just a few more follow-up questions. So in the case of, and maybe in a future meeting, we could do, maybe we do need to do this in executive session, Mr. President, but in the case of Mr. Boyd, in the public press reports, it said that Mr. Boyd's case is not being investigated by any law enforcement agency because he's still alive.
Okay, Courtney Gassion, Essex County Council. That is blatantly untrue information. It is without question still under investigation by a law enforcement agency. Secondly, I would request if there's
is it under investigation by the Attorney General?
The Boyd case is under investigation by the Essex County Prosecutor's Office.
Do we know if it, do we have any knowledge if it's under investigation by the Attorney General's office?
I don't know that I do not know that that's been elevated to the Attorney General's office. And if I could just finish my response, the reason I don't want to speak any further with regard to the Boyd incident in open session, I am happy to go into executive session if that's the request of the commissioners, is because that is a matter that is currently in pre-litigation. So I would not be comfortable sharing any further information at this point in open session.
Understood. Regarding those specific cases, the two most recent cases, Mr. Boyd's and the second incident. I'm just making sure I'm clear on what you said.
The J. Sean Boyd case is currently pre-litigation. I am not comfortable discussing any more details on that matter in open session.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel.
No.
Commissioner Mercado.
You're muted, sir.
Commissioner Mercado.
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Gill.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Palmares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
I stop the recording that,
Before we go into executive session, if we could just pause for a second, Mr. President, and I'll let you know that we're ready for that.
I would request that Director Ortiz and Warden Cirillo both be permitted in executive session.
Yeah, we record.
And we have to make sure that any other callers that are on are removed.
Yeah, so I don't know how you make that happen from a technology standpoint, but they should be included.
All right,
No,
so.
not.
Agreed. Not Ortiz and Cirillo. We're talking about the other callers.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are callers on the line. We just need to identify Mr. Ortiz and the other gentleman that are being recorded. So, Mr. Ortiz, can you identify yourself?
For your patience, everyone, we are back to our regularly scheduled meeting. We had to go into executive session. We're back live. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cooper.
Here.
Commissioner Gill.
Here.
Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano. Absent. Commissioner Mercado.
Here.
Commissioner Siebel.
Here.
Commissioner Vice President Palmares.
Here.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Here. Before we went into executive session, we had heard from Resolution 65 through 69 and 120. And we were about to make a motion. There's a motion on the floor from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Cooper. Take Resolution 65 through 69 and 120 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel.
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado.
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano. Absent. Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Graham, absent. Commissioner Gill.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Palmares.
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to Resolution 70 and 71, which are from the Office of the Sheriff. We'll read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jack.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Coltrane will handle these items.
Mr. President, Julius Coltrane, purchasing agent. We did a non-fair and open with the medical services for Canine Verona Montclair Animal Hospital, which is a 12-month agreement not to exceed $75,000. And this is to take the canine for examinations or any injuries they receive in their line of duty. It includes a $25,000 unforeseen medical, such as a heart attack or any other problems that the canine would have. 72 is approving participation in the state grant to administer the Attorney General's office accepting sub-award for a period of September 1, 2021 to August 2022 on their federal fiscal year overdose data action operation helping hand grant in the amount not to exceed $52,631.57. No matches required.
Thank you. Mr. Bass.
No, there are no legal questions. Thank you.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Vice President Pomaris to take Resolution 70 and 71. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Luciano, absent Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomaris,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to Resolution 72 through 74 and 118. It's the added starter for the office of the prosecutor, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. I will do 72 and 73. Mr. For Lacatuda from the prosecutor's office will handle 74, and Mr. Coltre will handle 118. 72 and 73 are pretty simple. They're just resolutions allowing the prosecutor's office to participate in two attorney general programs, one being Operation Helping Hand, treatment in lieu of incarceration, and which is 72, and 73 is a witness advocacy program to support victims of crime victims and their families in Essex County. And Mr. Lacatuda, I believe, is on from the prosecutor's office. Item 74.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. I'm an agent with the prosecutor's office. Calling in reference to the purchase of 8 Ford Explorer police-ready vehicles. They would be replacing our decommissioned vehicles and vehicles that we have over 17 years old that are no longer really usable for our needs. They would be purchased from a state contract, Gentilino Motors out of Woodbine, New Jersey, with a contract price of $310,874.08.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Coltre for 118.
Mr. President, Julius Coltre, purchasing agent. This is a state contract award for body-worn cameras. In law enforcement today, the Attorney General mandated that all law enforcement agencies have body-worn cameras. This is a 5-year contract for 160 units. The first year they'll be paying $110,000, and that's $49 per month per unit. It will also allow for transfer of data from the officer or the vehicle to the data center. Basically, that's about it. Mandated by the Attorney General's office.
Thank you, Mr. Coltre. Mr. Bass.
No questions, Commissioner President.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Commissioner, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Sebo, the second from Commissioner Vice President Pomaris to take Resolution 72 through 74 and 118 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano, absent Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Graham, absent Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomaris,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to Resolution 75 through 114, which are all commendations and memoriams, proclamation resolutions, and resolutions establishing time, place of the reorganization meeting, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Mercado to take resolutions 75 through 114 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham, absent Commissioner Johnson, absent Commissioner Luciano, absent Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
All right. Okay, Madam, thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to the report of board committees. Commissioners, do we have any report for committees? Any
Yes,
legislative-
Commissioner President.
Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to give a quick review. We held our annual banking review committee a couple of weeks ago. I want to thank all the commissioners who joined me, especially Commissioner Siebel for hanging in there to the very end. We went over a little bit longer than initially planned. All the banks responded favorably and provided really good overviews of their CRA activities. I especially was excited to see that a vast majority of our banks had little to no foreclosure activities at all within the county of Essex. There was only one bank that did not respond to the commission's annual review report that we send out, but all the other ones did. And I want to thank them all for their participation, and many have sent in the additional information that we requested. So anyone who asks questions, I believe that the staff has already sent that information over to you. I will give a written report in as a part of just the record. So thank you guys so much for participating. Thank you. Oh, and thank the staff administration as well for participating and helping us pull off our annual banking review.
Thank you for running such a great meeting.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Cooper and Commissioner Siebel. Any legislative reports? Any written communication? Any unfinished business? Any new business? Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to the public comment session on non-agenda items. However, since we are meeting remotely, the public had the opportunity to submit questions and comments for considerations, and they also have had an opportunity to call in. Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, the callers will be acknowledged to speak in the order that their call was received. Emails received for public comment will be read after the calls are completed. At this time, Lionel Leach, our project manager, will announce callers so that they can state their comment or question. Be reminded, you have 3 minutes to speak. Please do not have your laptop or any electronic device on while calling in. And at this time, we're accepting calls pertaining to non-agenda items. Lionel?
Good evening. This is Lionel Leach, Project Manager for the Board of County Commissioners. We have one speaker on the line. The speaker will be Pamela Mcelveen, believe it is. I'm sorry for the pronunciation if I said it wrong. You have 3 minutes to speak, and you may begin now. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pamela Mcelveen. I'm with the Palm Tree Block Association. I also advocating for Belvedere Park. I just wanted to be known that me and Joe J had a walk through Belvedere Park back in July of last year. Me and Dan had a walk through Belvedere Park. They made a lot of promises. Okay, so I've been advocating for certain things for Belvedere Park. We had a meeting with Joe on Tuesday, just past December the 7th. So he will be putting the football field, renovating the bathroom that's in the play area. and taking down the senior cafe building. It would take about 2 years to rebuild it. Everything that I have been asking for over the years, not knowing that I had a community meeting at the cafe on the 20th of November. And for some reason, all these organizations, all the ones that I went to and asked for support, and that's including Senator Rice, that's including UVSO, that's including other organizations in the Vailsburg section, and I couldn't get any. But now everybody want to box me in and, you know, push me out and not even acknowledge the fact of all the work I have put into and the meetings I have came into, but they want to spearhead one organization. Not to say, well, thank you, appreciate what I have done and have been doing for Vailsburg Park, and even for the traffic measures, in which Joe had promised that it would start in March. The renovation would start in March, and the speed measures. And we had an issue with tractor trailers. All that's done ceased now. But the speed measures need to be take place now. And that's on Origin Parkway and Design. Because there's 3 schools in that area, elementary, pre-K, and a high school, and the kids cut through the park. And they have to play chicken with the cars on Origin Parkway
30
and
seconds.
Design. I go there every morning. And sit there, and I have sent them videos of all the incidents of people almost getting hit. So I appreciate if something to be done, some speed measures to be taken now and not in March. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McElveen. Mr. Leach, are there any other speakers?
Mr. President, there are no further speakers for this evening.
Thank you. As is our customary process, you will receive answers in writing.
Mr. President.
Sorry.
I just wanted to state that, Mr. President, we received no emails for public comment for non-agenda items at this time.
I was so looking forward to that. Sorry to hear that. Thank you. Let's move to Commissioner comment session. Commissioners, do you have any comments you would like to make at this time? Well, I'll take a privilege and say Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate, enjoy this season. It's the best time of the year to get together with family and friends, and just wish all of you the best. If I don't see you, take care and stay safe. And remember, if you haven't gotten your shot, your vaccine, get them. If you haven't gotten the booster, get it. And keep your mask on. It's not over yet. So stay safe, everyone. With that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Ayes have it. So moved. Take care. Be safe. Be well.